What's good, YouTube? What a beautiful, beautiful late summer, mid morning, or late morning we're having today. I'm coming to you to talk to y'all about the Ultimatum Season 2 Marry or Move On Reunion Show. So, as I stated in the last quickie, everybody that remained on the show, everybody got engaged, right? We all come for this reunion. It's the empty couch. And Nick and Vanessa announced that the one couple that's missing, Lisa and Brian, they go through a montage of their whole existence, their very short existence on the show. And next thing you know, after we see that, they come out. They join the cast. They actually show up this time. So we talked to everybody. Um, I feel like Roxanne said yes to Antonio's proposal, but she still don't want to marry that man. She's still very unsure about marrying him, and it's evident in the questions and her that Nick asked her and her responses, and also the way his actions, like he's rolling his eyes in his head and all that kind of stuff. And he still wants to marry her. He's still holding out hope, but she's they asked, would you get married today? She said absolutely not. I don't think she wants to marry him. I feel like she said she wanted him to get a business. He started a business. He bought into a franchise, and yet it's still the answer is still no. So I feel like he's just not the one for her, and she needs to admit that to herself, and he needs to admit to himself that he can never be enough for whatever it is that she wants. Um, we get to talk to James and Ryan. They are both living with her parents and her siblings, and with him being the only child, that's a very different experience. They're looking for a home, but they have not found one yet. But they are definitely still getting married. He said that's the person he wants to be with. We talked to Alex and Kat. Kat got the soft spoken, don't say much, let her man get away with everything edit. She said that is not who she is. They have a wedding date for May 10th, 2024, which is cool. He said he's really, really ready. They talked about uh, kids and all those things, and they actually brought it up. Well, Roxanne brought it up in her conversation about what Alex had said to um, Antonio when he told him that, you're her whipping boy and stuff. And he said that he thought that he was coming from a place of good intent. He thought that, like, this is a guy that needs to know the truth from where I see it. And I'm gonna let him know. I'm gonna be honest. He said he was doing it like, because he's not into Roxanne, like he wanted to be with her or anything like that. But he was just trying to let Antonio know, like, this is what I see from her. And she's using you as your whipping boy and stuff. And of course, we all know and we all saw Antonio didn't take that too kindly. All right, I'm back. Had to let the ambulance go by. I'm sure y'all can still hear it a little bit. It was getting a little too loud. But the joys of recording outside, right? But as I was saying, Antonio didn't take too kindly to what Alex had to say to him, and Alex apologized, and so did Alex apologized to Antonio and Roxanne, and Roxanne was they showed a conversation that Roxanne and Kat actually had, and it was an unseen conversation. We never got to see this, but um, Roxanne basically told Kat, like, you just, I think that you can do better. Basically, like, he tells you what to do, and he's very he's not. I'm sorry. I don't think that is what you need for yourself. Like, you should want better. Because Roxanne is the type of woman that's just like, I'm a girl boss, I'm a woman boss, and I'm doing it for myself. I'm a go getter. I'm out here. Whereas Kat is way more reserved, and she gives me very pliable and willing to do whatever her mate would like for her to do within reason. She doesn't put up too much fuss. And that was Alex's thing. Like, he was thinking he needed a woman that would put up a fuss. So as I was saying, Alex was saying he think he needs a woman that stands her ground and will put up a fuss. And Kat was too eager, too pliable to do whatever it is that he suggested. To go along, just say I got somebody type. And Roxanne was like, I was coming to you with good intent. Kat said, so anyway, like I was saying, Kat was saying that she didn't think that when Roxanne was talking to her at the dinner that night, she didn't think Roxanne had her best interest at heart. She think Roxanne had ill intent and just wanted to say something mean. She felt like she came there with an attitude, or not attitude, but what's the word I'm looking for? She came there with intentions to kind of like make Alex seem like he's not right for Kat. That's how Kat took it. And Roxanne was like, no, I really was genuine. Like, I'm very, very direct. I've said that to you. And I've said that to everybody on this cast. I'm a very direct person. I don't pull no punches. And I can relate to Roxanne in that because that's how I am. I Sometimes I try to say it the nice way, but it just don't come out the nice way. And so Roxanne was like, what did I say that was so wrong? Like, what did I do? Like, what gave you that impression? And then Kat said your words. So basically, you just didn't like the words that she said. And Roxanne was like, yeah. And I was thinking, you was sitting there nodding your head. He was like, yeah, yeah. It's like you agree with what I was saying. So if you do that, then I'm going to continue to try to give you with good intention, like letting you know, I feel like you're this kind of a person, and I feel like this is what you deserve. And that's where I was going with it. It was basically like she was being a girl's girl. She was rooting for her and letting her know, like, you can do this. You don't need him, basically. You don't need to settle. And Kat was like, well, maybe I'm a very agreeable person and agreeable listener, and maybe I gave you my responses and stuff. I implied that I agreed with what you were saying and your assessment of my relationship, but you don't know me. And I was just like, no, she really don't know you. And we only see what we see. And she only knows what Alex may have told her when they talked and things like that. But still, like, from what she saw, she assessed that you are basically a doormat to Alex, and you are. And you kind of like got in your feelings about it. But I feel like she was being honest, and she was really trying to help you to see that you can have what it is that you want, and just might not be with Alex. And then on the flip side of that, Roxanne, I want you to see that all this advice and hyping up you doing for Kat, you need to be just completely honest with yourself. Don't hold on to Antonio because you feel like he's done so much and he's accepted you as you are all this time. So you feel an obligation to say yes to the wedding, yes to marriage. Yeah, so Roxanne, don't just say yes to marriage with Antonio out of obligation because you feel like he's done all these things, bent over backwards, and done all the things you asked to be okay and get you to see him as a husband. So you like, yeah, I'm gonna agree, but you're not wearing the ring he gave you. You took it off the very next day, and I get you saying, why is it that women have to walk around with a ring on to show that they're taken when they're engaged, but the man does not have to? I get that. I really, really do. I really get that. And that's a really good observation to make. But even Ryan suggested, was it Ryan or James? It was Ryan. She suggested, well, maybe you go and get him an engagement ring too, and y'all both wear engagement rings. Because you sitting here wearing a ring, fashion jewelry rings on every finger except for the engagement, well, the ring finger on your hand. And like I said, you took the damn ring off the very next day. Girl, what is you doing? You don't want to marry this man. Just say it. And let him go on about his life. Like, you wasted his time and yours. Because you could be meeting somebody that's really what you need. So Trey, Raya, James, and Ryan. We get a conversation between the four of them. And Ryan admits to, wanting to. There was a moment, she did have a moment where she wanted to slide into Trey's DMs. Not on no, I'm trying to be sneaky thing, but she just wanted to see, how things was going for him and Raya, because it's been 10 months since they had filmed um, the engagements and stuff like that, the ultimatum day. It's been 10 months. And she said, but she thought better of it. She decided, no, because I don't want to cause no problems. And then Ryan steps up and says, yeah, thank you, don't do that. Like, that wouldn't have been a good idea. And it was like, and Trey said he hasn't thought about, like, reaching out to her and seeing how she was doing. Like, he feels like they had a connection with each other. And it was more than emotional. It was like, he connected with her, like, on a cool, like, friends vibe. So Nick and Vanessa suggested a group chat where they can all text, and it could be all out there and it won't seem like it's something sneaky going on between all of them. We find out that James is a little kinky. James is very dominant when it comes to sexual stuff. And we seen some clips, unseen clips of him and Ryan and stuff. And then they brought up something called a sounding, what did they call it? A sound wall, sound probe, something. And Nick is like, what is that? And James is like, I'm just gonna let y'all Google it so y'all can see what it is. And Kat stepped up and was like, oh, is that the thing that you put in your pee hole? I was just like, oh, wow. And Nick thought it was very funny that Kat, who seems to be the most reserved person in the cast, is the one who Googled it and knows what it is. So yeah, James is a little kinky, and Nick asked Raya, like, how's it feel to see him being like that with her? And he couldn't even give you a hug the time that y'all spent together. And she was like, I always felt like it was a little something underlying under the surface with him, because there was that one time we took some kind of quiz to see what kind of bondage you would be into and stuff like that. So she knew from that he had a little kinky side to him or whatever, and he just smiled it off. And then let's get to Brian and Lisa showing up. Excuse me. So just like the other cast members, when they found out the news about Lisa being pregnant, I also, and a whole lot of people who watched this show, thought that her saying she pregnant was a ploy to keep Brian from going through with the whole experience, because she didn't want her man with nobody else. Well, it turns out they filmed this reunion 7 weeks after she had the baby, a little boy by the name of Mason. She really was pregnant. So again, Lisa really was pregnant. They asked her about, did she apologize or feel bad for the fact that she referred to Raya as the Hooters bee. Because Raya even said it was one day that they went together to get their nails done. And she had told her, like, yeah, at one time in my early 20s, I also worked at Hooters. You know? She said, so for you to have worked there and then call me a bee, I thought that was wrong. And even before Raya can get that whole thought out, here she comes saying that Lisa said, and so what? I said it, and I don't apologize for it. So Lisa continues on, making the excuses for how she treated Raya and Brian at the decision day, not decision day, like deciding who you gonna pick for your partner day. She acted like that. She wanted to say that she acted like that because she felt like Raya was just there, period, to see what life would be like with somebody else, because she didn't really love or care about Trey. She really wanted to just move on from Trey. She ain't love him like that. And it's like, girl, no, stop trying to use that as an excuse. Just admit it. You are very jealous and you're very possessive. And all of you were there for the same reasons, to test your bond and make somebody marry you. And you did all of that, ended up having a baby, and you still not engaged. You did all of that and you still not engaged. And it's like Antonio was trying to hold Lisa's feet to the fire. Because like she was saying, Antonio was saying, like, you was real mean to her. And then you mushed him in the face. So you did an act of violence against him and everything in front of everybody. And he was like, I think you should apologize. She deserved an apology. Like, you was wrong for that. Because we all were here for the same reasons. And then here comes Roxanne trying to excuse what Lisa did by saying, well, she was pregnant at the time. And I heard pregnancy hormones are crazy. And that might be why she had the anxiety about everything. And why it was way more intense for her than it was for all of us. No, don't give her no excuses. And then she tried to say, yeah, that was it. No, girl, she said, because that's why I took a test. Because I was just all over the place. I felt out of my body. No, girl. You're just mean and possessive. So, yeah, even after Roxanne said what she said, coming to Lisa's defense, Brian stepped in and was like, we decided to go ahead co-parent. And in her defense, like, he was just defending her. And I'm like, yo, you need to get away from her. And you're not going to be able to at this point because y'all got a kid together, because she really was pregnant. And she was a little taken aback at the fact that the whole cast thought that she had made the pregnancy up. And even Roxanne apologized for, like, her initial reaction being, is she pregnant for real, or is this is fake? Just so he won't be on the show. You know, she said it was so much going on at the time, and the way things was looking and the way Lisa was acting, she thought, Lisa's actions made her question whether or not the pregnancy was for real. But it was for real. But anyway, they're together. They got a 7-week-old son named Mason. Brian said he gonna be with her for life. I'm just like, I'm gonna pray for you. Yeah. I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna have to pray for Brian. Pray for him with dealing with Lisa for the rest of his life now that they have a kid together. I don't know if they'll ever make it down the aisle. And Lisa, if you gotta go through this for somebody to be with you and say that they want to marry you, you shouldn't want it. A person should voluntarily and happily be wanting to be with you for the rest of their life, not trapped into it. Also, Trey and Raya have decided they want to have a destination wedding in 2025. And that sums up the Ultimatum Season 2, Marry Me or Marry or Move On. I see y'all in the next one. Tell me what y'all thought in the comments.